Hi, welcome back. Engine covers. Now then, as you see on this Spitfire that I built recently, we have engine covers. And they're on, aren't they? They're fitted to the aeroplane. And they stay on, don't they? You notice that? They don't fall off. But you can remove them. So, if you'd like to know how to do this on an existing build that you're doing now, or even one you've already built, hang on and I'll show you how to do it. Back in a minute. Right, engine covers off. A lot of people, I've seen people on Facebook groups and various YouTube channels and stuff talk about, or complaining about even, that the Spitfire kit is good, but the panels are difficult to put on, and when you put them on they fall off, etc. Same for the gun covers. I can't address the gun covers just yet because, as I may have explained before, I don't really do guns in aeroplanes at the moment. But so these were just glued on. They won't come off. They never will. There's no guns in there. But on the build I'm doing next, I'm going to do that. So I will address the gun covers and try and work out a good way of making these gun panels removable. But onto the engine. I did deliberate how I could do this. I could make the cowlings and engine covers fit and be removable without them falling off and fitting properly and stuff. Now a lot of people talk about fitting magnets and things. Now, great, I bought some little magnets and they're tiny, really, really tiny. But I couldn't work out on a personal level how to do it effectively without the magnets showing, and I just couldn't do it with magnets. I'm sure people can, and I'm not knocking people that can. I think it's a great idea. If you can do it with magnets, fantastic. But if you want to do it with magnets when you've built the plane already, I don't think you can. You'd have to do it while you're building it. So, how I did it? Well, first of all, the biggest problem I had was getting this part of the cowling cover to fit on there, because basically this cover is quite thick when it comes out of the kit. It comes on its own sprue. It's just a unique piece of plastic that comes off its own sprue, and it's quite thick. It's quite rigid and thick. And the engine, nothing to scale on a model aeroplane. It can't be, can it? Because they've got to make it out of plastic, and the plastic's got to have certain amounts of integrity. So I doubt the engine is actually to scale. I think it's probably a little bit smaller, as is a lot of other parts on this. They'll vary depending on integrity and practical shape when they make them. Anyway, so to get this to fit, regardless of how you're going to get it to stay on, to get this to fit on there and cover the framework on here, don't worry about this paintwork, it's still a work in progress, is it? So I never quite finished doing the engine, but here we go. So get that to fit over this framework here and clear this part of the engine. Now this is a Merlin, I did some notes on this. This is a Merlin 61 or a 66, I get them mixed up. This is the higher altitude version of the Merlin. They do another one that's got a much curvier supercharger, which would be better for this job, because I did nip off a little bit of plastic off these edges here. I'm not convinced you have to do it, but I did anyway. And when you're putting the engine in, you could just nip a little bit off these rocker box covers, just a tiny bit, because the room in there is so slim, it's untrue. At least I found it that way. But basically what I did, you get your engine cover and you hollow this out as much as you possibly can. I took a Dremel to this and a fine sanding block. You can't see it on camera, but it was very thin by the time I finished with it, and it's fine. And I smoothed all the roughness out with basically thin cement. I call it liquid sandpaper these days, because you just paint it on and it just blends it in a little bit. If you wanted to have the cowling scale on both sides with all sorts of fun, you couldn't do this. This wouldn't work. So once you've done that, and you can get this part to fit on there and clear the framework, that's your first step. After that's plain sailing, because the other covers, these are fine. You don't have to do anything to these. And all we're doing to make them fit on is putting little tiny plastic hard clips You put one there, and it's got a little step in it. You see, I've just stepped it away. You might see it on camera, I hope you can. So it's got a little step in there, and all that does is hook under that lip there. And then you put a thin plastic hard wedge in the front there, and that jams in between that gap of that glycol tank, which I think it is, and the front of the framework. So that just fits in there. So to get that part on, I'm going to take the spinner off because it's easier. That's the spinner and the propeller. So to get that part on there, it's difficult handling the model when it's finished because it becomes quite delicate, doesn't it? So that just has to. I don't know how often you take. I'll bear in mind these do take off, by the way, because I haven't glued them on. I haven't glued them on because I'm thinking of putting PE ones, resin ones on. I haven't decided yet. So that fits under that edge there, and it pushes in to the front there. Simple as that. And that won't come off. I glued this panel on, by the way. I glued this side one on because I noticed, I don't care how anybody does this, well maybe they're different, I don't know, but without the covers on, the engine can actually rock. It's quite flexible, and I didn't want it to break. I didn't want it to, because if you're doing this on a regular basis, which I don't know why you would do, you're only now and again going to take the covers. You're either going to leave them off all the time, or you're going to leave them on all the time, and now and again you might just take them off to, I don't know, for whatever reason. But I decided to glue this panel on. Probably won't on the next one, so I'll try and make it stronger, but I glued that one on just to give the front end some integrity so it couldn't break off, because I've had them break off before. So once that one's on, obviously you've got your bottom one. Doesn't matter which order you put them on, by the way. So the bottom one's the same thing. It fits very, very well at the back here. Anyway, it fits in that space quite well. It wedges itself in. Just did the same thing at the front. Just put a little plastic hard lip in. I did wedge it a bit more. I put a little, you can see where it's touching, part of that bit there. Just to pack it out there. That's just, again, just to trap it in that gap in there. So again, to fit this piece, just slot it at the back and just encourage it into the front. I'm doing it with one hand and it's difficult while I'm on camera. So I'm not going to say this is a quick way of doing it, and it's certainly not the only way of doing it. It might be better to put it in the front first. I can't remember. Yeah. So now that's in there. It doesn't fall off. It's not going to go anywhere. So that's that one. And it's important when you get the front one on, when you're fitting this. The hardest one is definitely the top cowling. You've got to get it to kind of clear this framework here. So just make sure it's seated down the best you can. And the real ones, these cowlings don't fit that well, especially on the older ones. I mean, the wartime ones look like they've been hit with hammers. I don't know what they did with them, but they certainly didn't look like they were fitted very well. You know, the modern ones do fit very nicely. So now we've got that one. Same one on this one. Clip at the front. It's just thin plastic hard. I'm not sure what thickness it is. If I've got the calipers, I'll measure it. But just experiment. It's just plastic hard that you can get almost anywhere. So this is just 0.5. So it's 0.5 mil thick plastic hard. Little wedge, little piece at the back again, just a little lip, and a piece at the front to wedge in that gap. So all we need to do then is stick it in. I think I put it in the back one first actually. Can be a bit tricky to clear that exhaust panel, but if it was glued on, this one isn't, it might pop it out. So just basically like that. And there you go. Cowling's fitted. And they won't go anywhere. They won't fall off ever. Now I think that's an easy solution personally. I never glue this on because it's just easier to. I don't glue anything on if I can help it. I think this spinner is it's blue tacked on. I don't glue anything to anything if I can help it. So there you go. I'm going to call this, I don't know, is it a top tip? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think this is a viable way of doing this. It certainly worked for me on this particular one anyway. If you think magnets would work better. I have seen one somewhere where somebody put really, really tiny magnets in there. genius way of doing it. I've not seen it actually been done though. I've never seen anybody put the parts on and then take them off again. In reality, I've only seen pictures of either the cowling's on or the cowling's off. I've never seen them put them, take them on and off. So I don't know how that works, but I'm quite happy with that. It's a dead easy way of doing it. So to take them off is even easier, isn't it? See, excuse that bit. So yeah, just pop them, pick them off, get a nail in there. And I've not seen any, I've done this a few times now, I've not seen any degradation to anything. It just comes apart. Yeah, dead easy. And you can look at your lovely engine. This engine, again, I'm working on it. I can do this better now, but yeah. So there you go. Richard's patent, no, not patent, Acme engine cover clips. I remember me and my dad used to talk about, we used to watch Roadrunner cartoons and Bugs Bunny and stuff, and everything that Roadrunner used to use was made by Acme. So it always makes me laugh. So this is Acme Richard's engine cover clip idea. So I'm going to put that one on there just to show how easy it is. But yeah, as I say, you can do this on one you've already built, as long as you be careful hollowing the engine cowling out. That's the trickiest bit, to be fair. It did take a while, because you've got to kind of, I don't know, not go through it, because it does get very thin. You can see you can tell when it gets thin, because you can see light through it. But now it's been painted, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I'm sorry if probably the camera angles are horrendous. I'm not watching the camera while I'm doing this, so I can't. But, one last go. So there we go. Put that back on there, I suppose. Put it back on my shelf. So that's another one wearing probably. Anyway, you get the general idea. So there we are, engine covers. Catch you in a bit.